Esther the Queen and the Ransom, a story of courage and salvation. After exile, many Jews lived under the rule of the Persian Empire. Esther, a young woman known as Hadassah, was chosen to be queen, even hiding her Jewish origin. Meanwhile, Haman planned the destruction of the people of Israel. Hadassah, an orphan Jewish young woman, was created by her cousin Mordecai in Susa, the capital of the Persian Empire. She stood out for her beauty and righteous character, even amid the adversities of exile. Hadassah adopted Esther's name to hide her origins by joining King Xerxes' harem. Her journey to royalty was marked by challenges and trials, but God was preparing her for a greater purpose than she could imagine. Haman, a high officer of the Persian Empire, has a deep hatred for the Jews. His aversion was fueled by the fact that Mordecai, cousin and tutor of Esther, refuses to bend before him. Moved by ambition and the desire for revenge, Haman has elaborated a cruel plan to eliminate not only Mordecai, but all the Jewish people, convincing King Xerxes to sign a death decree against Jews. Haman has established a fatal date for mass execution. Fear and uncertainty spread among the exiled Jews on foreign land, while Haman's evil plan threatened the lives of all those who dare worship to the God of Israel. Mordecai, distressed by the imminent situation of the destruction of the Jewish people, sends messages to Esther in the royal palace. He reminds her of her identity and origin, urging her to act for her people. Mordecai asks if the fact that Esther was raised to royalty would not be precisely to intervene at a crucial time. Esther, confronted with the seriousness of the situation, feels the weight of responsibility and choice she needs to make. Approaching the king without being convened could mean his own death. But in the face of the cry of his people and the conviction that he was there for a greater purpose, Esther decides to risk everything. With courage and determination, she calls the Jews to fast for 3 days as preparation for the challenge she would face before performing before King Xerxes. Thus, the call of Mordecai echoes in Esther's ears, challenging her to assume her identity and act for the justice and salvation of her people. On the 3rd day of the fast, Esther gathered all the courage she had and prepared for the decisive moment. Dressed in her best real clothes, she entered the inner courtyard of the palace, where only the king's presence was allowed. The silence hovered in the air, for according to the Persian law, entering without being summoned by the king could result in a death penalty. Everyone's eyes were fixed in Esther, awaiting the monarch's reaction to the unquieted presence of the queen. In an unexpected and mercy gesture, King Xerxes extended his golden scepter towards Esther, indicating that she was welcomed and her life would be spared. At this crucial moment, Esther won not only the grace of the king, but also the beginning of the plan of salvation for his people, threatened by the terrible death sentence. Thus, one of the most exciting twists of biblical history began. Esther, with wisdom and strategy, invites King Xerxes and Haman to 2 luxurious banquets in the royal palace. During the first banquet, she prepares an environment of relaxation and joy, conquering the king's sympathy. In the second banquet, Esther reveals her identity as a Jew and exposes Haman's evil plan to exterminate her people. The king, surprised and outraged by his counselors' betrayal, realizes the truth behind Esther's words. At this crucial moment, the queen's courage and determination are evidenced by directly confronting the evil that threatened the Jews. Revelation in the royal banquet. not only saves his people from the death sentence, but also demonstrates how Esther was used by God to frustrate the plans of Israel's enemies. With the revelation of Haman's plot and Esther's courageous intervention, King Xerxes recognized the injustice committed against the Jews. With his royal authority, he issued a new decree allowing the Jewish people to defend himself against planned attacks. In all the provinces of the empire, the Jews have come together to resist their enemies. The day marked for destruction has become a day of victory and liberation. The enemy armies were defeated, and those who plotted against the chosen people were prevented by God's protective hand. The cry of despair was transformed into songs of joy and gratitude. Mordecai, who had been threatened by Haman, was publicly honored by King Xerxes and elevated to a prominent position and authority among the people. Thus Esther not only saved his people from imminent annihilation, but also allowed them to rise in their own defense and experience the providential liberation of God. Following the victory over enemies, Esther and Mordecai instituted the celebration of the Purim as a liberation memorial granted by God to the people of Israel. Purim became an annual party of joy and gratitude, marked by banquets, reading the book of Esther, distribution of gifts to the needy, and celebrations in the synagogues. During the Purim, the Jews recall Esther's courage, divine intervention in the darkest moments, and the final victory over those who plotted against them. Purim's feast is a constant reminder of God's faithfulness to preserve his people and fulfill his promises of salvation. Esther's story teaches us that God has the power to reverse the enemy's plans. Even in the face of the most elaborate plots and malicious intents, divine intervention can turn situations of despair into triumph. Just as Haman planned the destruction of the Jewish people, we see that his plans were frustrated and his own ruin turned against him. The victory of the righteous about the wicked is a recurring theme in the Scriptures, demonstrating that justice will prevail in the end. The reversal of evil plans highlights God's constant care and protection over those who seek him with sincerity and faith. The call is clear. Amid the adversities of life, we are challenged to fully trust God's care and provision. Just as Esther has been called to a greater purpose at a crucial moment, each of us is also summoned to act with courage and faith in the face of the challenges we face. Esther's story reminds us that even when circumstances seem unfavorable and insurmountable obstacles, the protective hand of the Lord is upon those who seek him. Therefore, we should not fear the uncertainties of the future, but to trust that God is in control of all things, and that his plan for our lives is good, perfect, and pleasant. May the courage and determination of Esther serve as an example and inspiration, so that we can also answer the divine call with boldness and confidence. May the story of Esther inspire us to fully trust God's sovereign control and his ability to transform seemingly impossible situations into glorious triumphs. Just as Esther was used as an instrument of divine providence to save his people, we can see in his journey a powerful testimony of God's love and faithfulness to those who seek him. May every challenge faced by Esther and every victory gained through his courage to serve as a constant reminder that, even in the darker moments, the light of hope shines when we place our confidence in the Lord. May we learn with Esther to hear God's call in our lives, to act boldly in the face of adversity, and to remain firm in the faith, knowing that he who calls us is faithful to fulfill his promises. May the story of Esther not only be a report of the past, but continuous inspiration for all of us, reminding us that the same God who acted in favor of her still works miracles these days. May we follow Esther's example and trust our Creator's perfect plan, knowing that He is always in control, even when circumstances seem unfavorable. That courage, determination, and unshakable faith shown by Esther encourages us to persevere in the midst of struggles and to believe that, just as it has been rewarded for its faithfulness, we will also receive the blessings reserved for those who fully trust God. Subscribe to the channel for more exciting biblical stories. May the story of Esther inspire us to fully trust God's sovereign control.